My next question says, all right, okay, this is an interesting one. If a child tells you he can see the devil and the devil tells him to do bad things, should it be believed?
It depends on the child.
Yeah.
So
So when I look at this,
Yeah.
coming from a corrections background, I've literally seen people, meaning kids. One that I have in my mind right now is a 15-year-old, and he committed a murder. Mm-hmm. And this never went out in court, but the reason he said that he committed it, how it started, and this was from a private conversation I had with him, was he was playing with a Ouija board, and he got into the occult, and he literally says that he was demon-possessed, and that was the reason that he committed the crime. So obviously we know demon possession can happen if you're a non-believer, mm-hmm. and the devil does all kinds of crazy things with that in that regard. But then, if your child is a believer, it can also be a spiritual attack.
Right.
And so I wouldn't necessarily say,
And it can be manipulation.
Manipulation too.
Yeah, and so.
So I would believe them.
Yeah, if I had a kid that was trying to manipulate me, and you just need to realize that kids are smarter many times than we think that they are, and kids are, it's like I expect my kid to be a little sinner, and so that's the first place that I start with anything. I expect the people who are in front of me to be sinners, and what I want to do is when I'm talking with them, I want to determine whether or not the things that they're saying are truthful, or whether or not they're using it as some kind of an excuse, or whether or not they're trying to gain attention, that kind of thing. There's all kinds of different motives that are going on there. And that's why I was saying it depends on the kid.
Yeah.
And so if I have a kid who's sitting there terrified, awful things are going on with them, and it's that kind of situation, then it's going to have more gravity for me than a situation where I have a kid who has been manipulative in the past and is trying to, just trying to get me on some kind of level. And so I want to have some discernment there, and so I'm gonna pray about those things. Satan does all kinds of wicked things, and he can do it to little kids. And so I would be obviously paying attention to that and approaching it from that point of view also. And so again, what I'm telling you is it depends on the kid. And so if, one of the things that you might want to be looking at is what's going on with your kid as far as what they're watching, what are they listening to, what's influencing them. And again, it depends on the age of the child.
Yes.
And so, Satan is an opportunist, and he uses anything that he can to go after the weak and the simple, basically. And so there are movies, and I'm talking about scary movies, horror movies, and that kind of thing that a lot of people let their kids watch, and they're frankly just demonic. And you can't expect for a kid to be involved in that kind of stuff and not be impacted by it. And you cannot expect Satan to just walk away from that and not use it as a tool to get in your kid's head. And so those are things that I watch for. And I've had my kids have had weird experiences over the years when they were growing up, and when that would happen, I would pray with them and tell them how to resist the devil, as it says in the book of James, and draw near to God. He'll draw near to you. Submit yourself to him. And that whole thing, and teach them how to deal with a spiritual attack in that kind of arena. But again, it depends on the kid. Yeah. And so one of my kids, I could see one of my kids using it as a tool to manipulate me. The other kid, not so much. And so it depends on the personality of the kid and that kind of thing. So.
Yeah, as I reread it, because I took it to the extreme on my first example, but it's like, and depending, like you said, on the age or whatever, but and what they mean by seeing the devil, are they having dreams or visions or whatever.
Right.
But the devil's telling me to do bad things. It's like, welcome to the club, man. This is like being a believer, having to be in the world and temptation stuff. I mean, he's always after us, and so spiritual attack is just part of being a Christian. But then it can get demonic.
You know, another thing that you need to watch out for is there can be situations that come up where people are having mental issues, basically, that are not based in spiritual arenas. And you know, I don't want to dismiss the spiritual even in that, because like I said, Satan's an opportunist. You know, it's wild to me that you know, when you're talking about people who are into drugs and that kind of thing, whenever something happens and they flip out, they're never being chased by, you know, pink bunnies. You know, it's always something demonic.
Always.
Yeah, that's going on with that stuff. And so again, Satan's an opportunist. But in a situation like that, where if I had a kid that I'm talking to and they seriously told me that they think that they saw the devil and that the devil's speaking to them, I would deal with the spiritual issue, but I'd also be looking for physical things too. And so there are sleep issues that can cause kids to, or people to exhibit problems that approach having taking LSD, for example. You lose sleep for a number of days and your brain wigs out. And so those are things that I'd be looking at also. Maybe looking at situations where somebody might have an allergy to something, that kind of thing. There can be some physical stuff. And I'm not talking about going down and getting an antidepressant. I'm talking about, you know, if I was worried about this, I'd have my kid get a physical, do some blood work, that kind of thing. Make sure that he's okay. Brain tumors can cause issues with people seeing things, that kind of stuff. And I don't want to scare you, but again, there can be physical issues that cause manifestations that come out like this. And so, generally speaking, if I have somebody come in and talk with me, I'm talking about even adults now. If somebody comes in and talks to me and they're having weird things like this happen, one of the things that I encourage them to do is go down and get checked out and see if there's anything physical going on. I ask what meds they're taking, you know, because many times the side effects of medications can be, you know, situations where they see things or where they hear things, that kind of stuff. And so if your kid's on any kind of meds, one of the things that you might want to do is, you can get this on the internet now. You can go and you can look up the side effects of the medications that are being taken. And so those are things that I just always check out. So are they on meds? If they are on meds, find out what the side effects are of those things. If I want to rule out anything physical that might be going on, and so getting a checkup and that kind of thing would be something that I would be looking at if this is something that just keeps going on. And once I've ruled out the physical, then I know that we're dealing with something that's a spiritual issue. And it's not that I don't take care of the spiritual stuff first.
Sure.
But I always keep in mind that physically things can cause you some real weird issues. Yeah.
One thought I had too when you mentioned manipulation. I did have one kid who I thought was saying stuff, and they were acting out, and it was always in a crowd, saying that they seen demons, and they'll start freaking out and stuff. And you know, I don't know their heart, so I can't say for sure, and I didn't approach it. But if I had a sneaking suspicion that they were doing things to get attention, to be spiritual, saying they saw those things and having
adults do this.
That's yes, yeah.
You know, it's like you know, obviously kids can do it too.
Yeah, and they go on like an anxiety attack, and I think it's some part of it is they wanted attention.
Right.
So it can be manipulation there, like you said.
Yeah, you have to watch out for all that. Yeah.
So that's a lot. Pray about it, and the Lord will guide you from there.